Hi, I'm Ken White Jr., and this is the final chapter of The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I hope you've been enjoying the reading that we've had, and we look forward to sharing this final chapter with you. Yes, and the bedpost was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. Best and happiest of all time before him was his own, to make amends in. I will live in the past and the present and the future, Scrooge repeated as he scrambled out of the bed. The spirits, the spirits have done all three. Strive within me. Oh, Jacob Marley, heavens and Christmas time be praised for this. I must say it on my knees, old Jacob, on my knees. He was so flustered and so glowing with his own good intentions that his broken voice could scarcely answer the call. He had been sobbing violently in his conflict with the spirit, and his face was wet with tears. They are not torn down, said Scrooge, folding one of his bed curtains in his arms. They are not torn down, rings and all. They are here. I am here. The shadow of things that would have been may be dispelled. They will be. I know they will. His hands were busy with his garments all the time, turning them inside out, putting them upside down, tearing them, mislaying them, making them parties to every kind of extravagance. I don't know what to do, cried Scrooge, laughing and crying at the same breath, and making a perfect lacoon of himself in his stockings. I am as light as a feather, and as happy as an angel, and as merry as a schoolboy, and giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy New Year to all the world. Hello there. Whoop. Hello. He had frisked into the sitting room and was there, standing perfectly winded. There's a saucepan that the gruel was in, said Scrooge, starting off again and going around the fireplace. There's the door through which the ghost of Jacob Marley entered. There's the corner where the ghost of Christmas past sat. And there's the window where I set wandering spirits. And it's right. It's all right. It's all true. It all happened. Really, for a man who had been out of practice for so many years, it was a splendid laugh, a lustrous one. The father of a long, long line of brilliant laughs. I don't, I don't know what day of the month it is, said Scrooge. I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm quite a baby. Never mind. I don't care. I'd rather be a baby. Hello, whoop! Hello there. He was checked in his transports by the church's ringing of the lustiest peals he had ever heard. Clash, bang, hammer, ding, dong, bell, bell, dong, ding, hammer, clash, clash. Oh, glorious, glorious. Running to the window, he opened it, put out his head. No fog, no mist, clear, bright, jovial, stirring, cold, cold, piping for the blood to dance to. Golden sunlight, heavenly sky, sweet, fresh air, merry bells. Oh, glorious, glorious. What's today? Cried Scrooge, calling downward to a boy in his Sunday clothes, who perhaps had loitered in to look about him. Eh? Returned the boy, with all the might and wonder. What's the day, my fine fellow? Said Scrooge. Today? Replied the boy. Why, it's Christmas Day. It's Christmas Day, said Scrooge to himself. I have missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. They can do anything they like. Of course they can. Of course they can. Hello, fine fellow. Hello, returned the boy. Do you know the poulter's in the next street but one, at the corner? Scrooge inquired. I should hope I knew, replied the lad. An intelligent boy, said Scrooge. What a remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging there? Not the little prize turkey, but the big one. What? The one as big as me? Returned the boy. What a delightful boy, said Scrooge. It's a pleasure to talk to him. Yes, my buck. It's hanging there now, replied the boy. Is it? Said Scrooge. Go and buy it. Walker, exclaimed the boy. No, no, said Scrooge. I'm in earnest. Go and buy it, and tell them to bring it here. I may give them the directions where to take it. Come Back with the man and I'll give you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes and I'll give you a half a crown. The boy was off like a shot. He must have had a steady hand at the trigger to have got a shot off so fast. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's, whispered Scrooge, rubbing his hands and splitting with a laugh. He ain't know who sent it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim. Joe Miller never made such a joke sending it to Bob as it will. His hand in which he wrote the address was not a steady one, but he did write it somehow and went down the stairs to open the street door, ready for its coming and the poulterer's man. As he stood there waiting its arrival, the knocker caught his eye. I shall love it as long as I live, cried Scrooge, patting it with his hand. I scarcely ever looked at it before. What an honest expression on its face. What a wonderful knocker. Here's the turkey. Hello, whoop. How are you? Merry Christmas. It was a turkey. He could never have stood upon his legs. That bird. It would have snapped him off short in a minute, like sticks of sealing wax. Why, it's impossible to carry that to Camden Town, he said. You must have a cab. The chuckle with which he said this, and the chuckle with which he paid for the turkey, and the chuckle with which he paid for the cab, and the chuckle with which he recompensed the boy, were only to be exceeded by the chuckle with which he sat down breathless in his chair again and chuckled till he cried. Shaving was not an easy task, for his hand continued to shake very much, and shaving requires attention, even when you don't have to dance while you're at it. But if he had cut the end of his nose off, he would have put a piece of sticking plaster over it and been quite satisfied. He dressed himself all in his best, got out to the last into the streets. The people were by this time pouring forth and had seen them as he had seen them with the ghost of Christmas present, and walking with his hands behind him, Scrooge regarded everyone with a delighted smile. He looked so irresistibly pleasant, in a word, that 3 or 4 good-natured fellows said, "Good morning, sir." "A Merry Christmas to you," said Scrooge. And Scrooge said often afterwards that of all the blithe sounds he had ever heard, those were the blithest in his ears. He had not gone far, when coming on towards him, he beheld the portly gentleman who had walked into his counting house the day before and said, "Scrooge Marley's, I believe." It sent a pang across his heart to think how this old gentleman would look upon him when they met. But he knew what the path lay straight before him, and he took it. "My dear sir," said Scrooge, quickening his pace, and taking the old gentleman by both hands, "how do you do? I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. A Merry Christmas to you, sir." "Mr. Scrooge?" Yes, that is my name," said Scrooge, and I fear it may not be pleasant to you. Allow me to ask your pardon, and will you have the goodness—" Here Scrooge whispered in his ear. "Lord bless me!" cried the gentleman, as if his breath were gone. "My dear Mr. Scrooge, are you serious?" "If you please," said Scrooge. "Not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in it, I assure you. Will you do me that favor?" "My dear sir," said the other, shaking hands with him, "I don't know what to say to such magnificent—" "Don't say anything, please," retorted Scrooge. "Come and see me. Will you come and see me?" "I will," cried the old gentleman, and it was clear he meant to do it. "Thank you," said Scrooge. "I'm much obliged to you. I thank you 50 times. Bless you." He went to church, and walked about the streets, and watched the people hurrying to and fro, and patted children on the head, and questioned beggars, and looked down into the kitchens of houses, and up into the windows, and found that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamed that any walk, that anything could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon he turned his steps towards his nephew's premises. He passed the door a dozen times before he had the courage to go up and knock, but he made a dash and did it. "Is your master at home, my dear?" asked Scrooge to the girl. Nice girl, very. "Yes, sir." "Where is he, my love?" said Scrooge. "He's in the dining room, sir, along with his mistress. I'll show you upstairs, if you please." "Thank you. He knows me," said Scrooge, with his hand already on the dining room lock. "I'll go in here, my dear." He turned it gently and sidled his face in round the door. They were looking at the table, which was spread out in a great array, for these young housekeepers are always nervous on such points, and like to see that everything is right. "Fred," said Scrooge. Dear heart alive, how his niece by marriage started. Scrooge had forgotten for a moment about her sitting in the corner with a footstool, or he wouldn't have done it on any account. "Why, bless my soul!" cried Fred. "Who's that?" "It's I, your Uncle Scrooge. I've come to dinner. Will you let me in, Fred?" Let him in? It is a mercy he didn't shake his arm off. He was at home in 5 minutes. Nothing could have been heartier. His niece looked just the same. So did Topper when he came. So did the plump sister when she came. So did everyone when they came. Wonderful party, wonderful games, wonderful unanimity, wonderful happiness. But he was early at the office the next morning. Oh, he was early there. If he could only be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late, that was the thing he set his heart upon. And he did it. He did. The clock struck 9. No Bob. 1/4 past. No Bob. He was a full 18 minutes and a half behind his time. Scrooge sat with his door wide open that he might see him come into the tank. His hat was off before he opened the door, his comforter too, and he was on the stool in a jiffy, driving away with his pen as if he were trying to overtake 9 o'clock. "Hello?" growled Scrooge in his accustomed voice, as near as he could feign it. "What do you mean by coming in here at this time of day?" "I'm very sorry, sir," said Bob. I am behind in my time." "You are?" "Yes," repeated Scrooge. "I think you are. Step this way, please." "It's only once a year, sir," pleaded Bob, appearing from the tank. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir." "Now, I'll tell you what, my friend," said Scrooge. "I'm not going to stand for this sort of thing any longer. And therefore," he continued, leaping from his stool and giving Bob such a dig in his waistcoat that he staggered back into the tank again, "and therefore I'm about to raise your salary." Bob trembled and got a little nearer to the ruler. He had momentarily had the idea of knocking Scrooge down and holding him and calling the people from the court to come help with a straight waistcoat. "A Merry Christmas, Bob," said Scrooge, with an earnestness that could not be mistaken, and he clapped him on the back. "A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I've given you in many a year. I'll raise your salary, and I'll endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop, Bob. Make up the fires, and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit." Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became a good friend, a good master, and a good man, as good as a good old city ever knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh, and little heeded them, for he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happened on this globe for good at which some people did not have their fill of laughter at the onset. And knowing that such as those would be blind anyway, he thought it quite as well they should wrinkle up their eyes and grins as have a malady of less attractive forms. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. He had no further intercourse with spirits, and he lived upon the total abstinence principle ever afterwards. And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May it be truly said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the reading of the Christmas Carol. It's been a real joy to share it with you, and I hope you'll have an opportunity to read another Christmas classic that I've written, Stella, the Star of Bethlehem. Thanks. Merry Christmas and God bless you.